Hello and welcome to another episode of One Fall WrestleCast Live. We're coming to you from Wednesday evening, which is just one of those days that it's like, yeah, we've got some things to do, but there's some things that are thinging, and then we can do the thing on the Wednesday so that we can talk about the things that thanged, and then we can do the thingy thing for the thingy thing, right? So obviously WWE Monday Night Raw has debuted on Netflix. Tom and I are going to give a nice little rundown on that. NXT New Year's Evil, and then we'll chit chat some AEW. I've got some things to say. So yeah, it should be a fun show. Looking forward to it.
Welcome to the One Fall WrestleCast.
What's up, dude?
Nothing. Just got, done watching an awesome week of wrestling.
Yeah, man,
but
it's wild, right? Like we agreed on like Thursday last week we were going to do this today just because I had some things on the schedule that required me to not be around. Ended up having to cancel that because of the Great Snowspiracy of 2025. Had to kind of
postpone. We wanted to watch Raw on Monday.
Yeah.
So
it worked out. It worked out the way that it was supposed to work out. We're here now. It's Wednesday evening. We jumped on about a half hour early. Just, give us a little bit of time to really do a deep dive on Netflix, which I thought overall was a pretty good show, but we'll get into that here in a little bit. I really liked some of the things that I saw from that standpoint. NXT New Year's Evil was dope, top to bottom.
What a good show.
Genuinely enjoyed that. I can't wait to talk about that. The NXT product has just been something special recently, and and we'll get into all of that also. But the thing that I've been sitting here stewing on all week. There's two things that are just, let me go full on Peter Griffin here. Do you know what really grinds my gears?
What really grinds your gears?
Would you like what grinds my big gear or my small gear first?
Should we go small to big or big to small?
I'm asking you pick the gear.
Let's go with the small gear.
Okay, so this thing that grinds my small gear right now is fucking Adam Copeland. Okay, like I'm gonna tell you what, bud. Here's the thing. I think by now anybody that's listened to our show, this particular program, for any longer than 6 minutes knows that I love the body of work of the artist formerly known as Edge. Okay. I have not been a big proponent of his idea of continuing his career in AEW because there wasn't anything left for him to do in WWE. I get all that. But there wasn't anything left for you to do in WWE because you've done it all. Okay, you've had 2 Hall of Fame careers. 2 Hall of Fame careers. I don't give a fuck what anybody says. All right. And I have been the largest mouth in the room when it comes to the work that Adam Copeland has done in AEW. He came back and he looked mean. He looked aggressive at the pay-per-view. He looked like the Adam Copeland character that we deserve in this run.
Put Mox in the thing with the chair thing.
Finished the trifecta on the Shield.
Yeah.
All 3 of them were top guys at that point in time when he finished. He had the thing. It was awesome. I was excited. I boo-booed on it a little bit whenever we came in here. All right, that week, but I also was optimistic. Hey, if he does X, Y, and Z, this is going to be fantastic, right? Get to the main event on Wednesday, Dynamite. I'm like, okay, let's see what this looks like. This is all I could do.
Mm-hmm.
But the rated R superstar, Cope?
Who the fuck is Cope? What the fuck is that?
Wow.
Like,
Why
I get not wanting to be like, oh, Adam Copeland, the rated, like, that's too wordy. I get it. But, like, come up with something else.
You think Disney had something to do with that?
They're on WB, which is not Disney. No.
Oh,
but he's in the Perry. What's his
the Percy Jackson?
Percy Jackson.
series.
There we go. Percy, whatever. Perry's a platypus.
You think that's Disney? Huh?
That's a conspiracy that I've not yet wrapped my mind around.
But it's because it's the only logical explanation behind a grown man calling himself Cope. When he's I don't know what to do with Adam Copeland in AEW, bro. I really don't. I want to be excited because, hey, we're having fun with Uncle Jay, right? And like, he's out here living his best wrestling life. And these are things that I've said, that I've defended other people like Moxley or like Jericho. And then I in turn say them about Adam Copeland, and it just continues to get worse, and it continues to just grind on that gear just so much that I'm just at a point where I'm gonna lose my ever loving fucking mind.
It did also that him coming out and that whole thing did also suck the air out of what was otherwise a very good Dynamite. It sucked the air out there.
The match was good.
Sure.
I'm not trying. The match was good. I enjoyed the match, but you are absolutely right. The rated R superstar, Cope.
You heard a collective, huh? like it wasn't a cheer. It was a huh. You heard, and it's like, Cope, so many ways he could have gone, right?
And when Justin Roberts says the rated R superstar, it's like a Tony Chimmel thing to it. You know what I mean? Like
the rated R superstar. Yeah,
I like it a lot. And then it's just like, Cope.
What? Who?
Excuse the fuck out of Hansel. What's that?
Who? Is that what his neighbor calls him when he's cutting the grass? What's up, Cope? Hey, Bill.
Friend of the show, Pat Martin.
And just woke now. Why is he? Sure. I don't know that counts, but sure.
Friend of the show, Pat Martin, also says he looks old and slow.
He is old and slow.
He is old and slow, and I just
not a matter of looking. It's
my heart breaks.
It's a state of being.
My heart breaks. It's just I was all pumped up, and I think I even said it. Hey man, I'll watch this. I'll see what's going on, and then Cope.
What was otherwise a tremendous show.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy. So the little gear has been,
and I can't even. I had a whole bunch of good jokes about this, but I can't even make them because they're not allowed.
Yeah, I mean they were. I mean we could probably get away with it, but
Also, no.
I think cooler conversational heads have prevailed in the decision making process behind these jokes this evening. So the little gear has.
It just occurred to us at that moment what the R stood for in rated R. That's about as far as I can get away with it, right?
Yeah, I think
that's about as far as that goes.
Yeah. And then the thing that just like made me go absolutely fucking ballistic this week, and I can't believe that we're continuing to let this happen. All right. And that's to kick off NXT. All right. And they show The Rock getting out of the truck.
Oh, this is the big one. Okay.
And he closes the door and he's got that fucking belt. Why is he still carrying this thing? Why?
He did it on
Netflix too, but they gave it to the girls, and I was hoping that was the last we were going to see of it.
Yeah,
and then Tuesday,
just carrying it around, like he carries it around when he goes to work, like when he works in like the movies and stuff. When he goes to like when he was filming, what was that Christmas movie? When he was filming Red One. Yeah, when he's filming Red One, like he showed up with that.
You smell that? That's Dwayne. I'm the people's champ, damn it. Dwayne.
Especially after he's sort of showed back up as a babyface. And like he's not I thought the belt was a heel gimmick at first. And now he's just carrying it around cutting babyface promos. So
there's a thing on the internet right now that I saw before we came in here that said that this is a wrinkle to the final boss character because, he's going out there and he's being the good executive of the board that he is, going out and just giving this his blessing, this Netflix, just breaking the champagne bottle on the bow of the boat.
Mm-hmm.
That fucking missed me with all that bullshit. Yeah. That was Dwayne. That was out there fucking cutting those fucking shitty promos this week. All right, fuck out of here. Dude, that promo to end NXT was a fucking train wreck.
I shut it off, to be honest.
8 minutes of nothing.
I shut it off. I started listening to it, and when he kind of started to go into the same nonsense that I had just heard on Netflix the night before, I'm like, you know what? I'm good. I got other shit to do. And I shut it off because
I'm how uneducated on the NXT product are you that you walk out into the middle of the NXT arena on New Year's Eve, which was a phenomenal card, by the way.
Absolutely.
And he's the guy that closes the show, which just felt dirty to me.
Yeah. I love that he like walked in, like he just got there at the end. Like, what the fuck? Like that's always been a thing to me for WWE, where they have people just show up towards the end of the show. Like they hadn't been there all night. They just showed up at the end. Like, what are you doing between the hours of 8 p.m. and 10 p.m. that you couldn't show up until 9:50? Like what the fuck?
I mean, maybe catching a late dinner, maybe a show. You go have a cocktail perhaps.
Sure.
Maybe spend an hour with the lady of the night.
Is that why you're smiling?
Or a little, if that's the way that your door opens, I don't know, bud.
A gentleman of the evening, if you will. Yeah, whatever. We don't shame people here. A lady of the night, gentleman of the evening, whatever.
Whatever rows your boat, bud,
Gently down the stream.
I will say one good thing came out of The Rock this week. Man, he fucking endorsed Ethan Page, and I got an instant heart on.
Yeah, that's good. Although he came out, yeah. I was like, what am I thinking? Yeah, no, Ethan Page wasn't even in that match. So yeah, endorsing Ethan Page, I feel like was AEW's fumbled some big talent. I didn't know Ethan Page was big talent that was fumbled until he got to NXT, and I was like, oh, yeah, they fucked him up too.
Yeah, because they put him in fucking what's his nuts.
I mean, he was with Matt Hardy for a bit.
Yeah, no, before that. Fuck me. I know what I want to say. The dude from SCU, the black dude. Yes. Scorpio Sky. They put them together, man. That had fucking potential, and then they just shelved it and then Ethan Page ended up with fucking Matt Hardy, which was just, what are we doing here? Ethan Page shouldn't be subservient to fucking nothing. Or yeah, it was weird, right?
Well, honestly, I feel like if anything, AEW showed us that the Matt Hardy experience, the Matt Hardy experiment. I was going to say experience, like he's the Viking experience, but the Matt Hardy experiment should be over now. If the Hardy Boys want to show up as a nostalgia act every great now and then, sure, fine, whatever. If they can still go, and Jeff can stay sober and what have you, then fine, great.
Well,
But,
I mean, they're doing pretty good in TNA right now, I think.
Right, because they're the Hardy Boys. They're doing
Yeah.
they're doing the one thing that works. The Matt Hardy solo experience is what's on another channel.
Yeah. It's not what it once was.
I don't know that Matt Hardy was ever
wonderful.
Yeah, I don't know that he ever had a whole lot of legs to begin with. The broken stuff is okay, but he always needed other people. He did he was magic for a hot minute.
Motherfucker teleported.
He was. Okay. In 2020, he could teleport. And then everybody went, wait, since when can he teleport? And then they nixed that. Kudos to them. They nixed it right away. But somebody absolutely was like, yeah, let him teleport. I hope that person also no longer works at AEW.
Yeah, they don't, because it was Matt Hardy.
Yeah, it probably was.
Because that was at a time that nobody was saying no.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, but I agree wholeheartedly that Ethan Page is a fumble. And, I was into the work that Ethan Page was doing, and I'm pretty sure that you're probably somewhere quoted as calling him a chooch. But that's neither here nor there.
He was a chooch.
We'll let a dead dog lie. You know what I mean? I'm not here to point fingers, or drum up some controversy. Okay. I'm just here to have a conversation with my buddy about Ethan Page, right? Like, some of us may have seen the brilliance and understood that, there was a chance for him to be something a little bit bigger. And some of us may have just taken him at face value and not really thought much into it. And now one of us is smiling like a Cheshire cat, and the other one's just, looking for vindication.
I didn't think Trick should have won the I didn't think Trick should have beat him for the NXT title.
No, I didn't either. But you know what? I feel like it makes a lot of sense now, though, doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it worked out in the end, but I was like, this could have kept going. It probably could have been good. And I mean, I guess Trick's coming into his own too. I think Trick's going to be a big deal. Yeah, Trick's going to be a big deal.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I thought Ethan Page was still rolling. Although at this point, I kind of feel like him and Trick are coming up to the main roster shortly.
I'm assuming they're both going to be in the Royal Rumble, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, with both Raw and SmackDown being 3 hours, they're going to take top talent from NXT to help fill those hours. And I don't see how Trick Williams and Ethan Page aren't two of the top names on that list for guys coming up to help fill that time.
This is fun. Hot take, Byron Cutler. An NXT superstar will win the women's Royal Rumble match. My thought specifically is Roxanne Perez. Do you know what's wild about that, Tom?
What's wild about that? I wouldn't hate that at all, by the way. That would be, I think that makes perfect sense. I don't think there's a problem. I don't think anybody has a problem with that. In fact, I would love it if Roxy threw out like Charlotte? Becky or Charlotte, truthfully, if they were the last two and that's who she threw out. I think that would be great. I'm all for that.
Maybe like outwits her a little bit, beats her with some speed, pulls the rope down, gets her to do the job, I'm into that. And, that opening match between her and Julia was, oh my God.
Awesome.
I felt bad. For those folks that had to follow that match because that thing was a fucking piece of art.
I'm glad that the following match, that the match after that, had another super top talent in Stephanie Vaquer in it, because had it been the Gigi Dolan shot,
she needs a mouthpiece, bro.
Who? Stephanie?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, she does. She really. I mean, truthfully, I think Julia might as well, but I don't want it to see. I don't want it to be Robert Stone though. That's never gone well.
Yeah, but what if he changes his gimmick?
He's done that a few times.
I mean,
First,
to not be a sleazy piece of shit.
Well, he was a drunk, disheveled piece of shit for.
What if he were to take on more of a Paul Heyman like?
Can he do that?
I don't know. I mean,
I don't know that he's got that in him.
I mean, does anybody have that in them?
I don't think anybody does. Otherwise, everybody'd beat Paul Heyman.
But I'm just saying, like, that type of guy, right? Like, nobody's gonna be Paul.
It's almost
Heyman.
like they need to just bring in Jim Cornette, move, but in order to do that, they'd have to move.
I'll never go back to WWE.
They'd have to move it. Well, they'd have to if they moved it to Lexington and he never actually had to leave. Maybe
fuck that shit. Hunter's a piece of shit too. Probably out there pooping on bitches also. Motherfucker.
But yeah, that's the only way. If they moved
I'm never going back to that fucking place. I make more money on my podcast sitting on my ass.
He really does, though. Like, if you look at those numbers.
Goddamn Jim Cornette motherfucking experience.
And the drive-thru.
I was getting there, motherfucker.
With the great Brian Last. Is he all that great?
Fucking WW fucking E. Entertain these nuts.
Motherfucker. Is Corny in the Hall of Fame yet?
No, I don't think so.
I don't think so either.
I don't think so.
He needs to be. Man, Corny.
I've never heard him say a bad word about Triple H, though. So I think that's probably a positive to rebuilding a relationship. At this point, if Triple H can get Phil to come back,
literally anybody. He could get anybody back.
I mean, he got Bruno and Phil to come back. I mean, come on, bro.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, he's like, well, he's always the one now that's saying, never say never.
Gotta love it.
I can't believe if you think about it, like the Pat, like getting CM Punk to come back really is it's the moment of never say never. It really is. Like, I don't know that there's ever been, besides Bruno, like at this point, there's nobody alive who would be that level of like, oh my God, can you believe? Like,
can you believe what the Levesque is cooking? Can he start carrying a belt?
He ought to.
When he comes to the ring.
I mean, if anybody
CCO.
If anybody should, it should probably be him, for being honest. God, it would make more sense than The Rock being there with a belt.
God, it just grates on my nerves. Fucking doesn't make any sense at all. None. Hey, I'm trying to do a podcast down here. They just found out schools got canceled.
Really?
Yeah, again. It's still, listen, it's not like a motherfucker down here.
We're getting nothing right now. Oh, man. Oh, God. If it's canceled tomorrow. Oh, it might become my problem.
Why would it be? It's supposed to snow.
Are we arguing about this now while I'm on a podcast?
See? Hey, look, here we go. This is validation. It's probably way worse. Friend of the show, Pat Martin, says it's nuts down here. I bet it is, but I saw some pictures earlier. You're quite a few hours more south than I. But that's neither here nor there. You guys have been in it all week down that way. But I mean, we have too. We're coming off a Christmas vacation and they've not been back to school yet.
So both my kids went back today because Evie went back on Monday. All was well, but the middle school had no electricity. So Damien was just wandering around. And I don't know about you guys, but when my kids work remote, or when my kids are remote, like as far as school is concerned, like the school phones that shit in. Like Damien does a half hour of work and then like shows up in my face while I'm working, and I'm like, "Hi, bud," and he's like, "I don't have anything to do for the next 2.5 hours." I'm like,
Can I play PlayStation?
"Yeah," that's exactly what he says, and I'm like, I look outside. I'm like, "Do you want to go shovel snow?" He's like, "No, my snow pants are at mom's house," and I'm like, yeah, I guess. That's like
Problem solved.
problem solved. I'm like,
Problem
okay.
solved.
Well, the problem is that he doesn't play PlayStation quietly. He jumps and yells.
I can see that. I could
Yes.
definitely see. Yeah, I could definitely see that. Yeah, I could definitely. The little man in the Nintendo Switch being on the big screen has been quite the fun scenario inside of these four walls. So we've been enjoying that.
So Damien's gotten into Mortal Kombat, and
Oh, nice.
he's playing it online now against like other people, and he'll wreck fools. But then, like, you know, occasionally he'll come up against somebody who's played Mortal Kombat their whole life, and they will just ruin him. And the words I hear coming out of his room kind of make me proud, but also kind of make me blush a little bit. But it's one of those things where it's just like, you know, so we're trying to work, and to hear somebody be called a gap-toothed bitch or a stupid motherfucker who couldn't find his asshole just in the middle of like a work meeting is kind of, you know, one of those things where it's like, hey, bud, can we maybe not call people motherfuckers during the workday? Like, can we just like dial that back a little bit?
Just a skosh.
A little bit. Just a skosh.
Just a skosh.
You gosh darn whippersnapper, you know. But that's just my opinion.
No, I mean, you know, it is what it is, right?
And what comes out, I mean, what am I supposed to do? Like, it's not like, am I supposed to punish him for doing something that I would do, even though I can't play video games in the middle of the workday? Well, that's not entirely true. But I try to play the ones that have the pause button, okay?
Pause.
Pause.
Motherfucker.
Fucker.
God damn fucking women's 4-way match was pretty fucking good. Stephanie
really
Valkyrie
was.
won.
That's why I'm glad this
decision.
I'm glad this one came after the. I'm glad it was this one next and not Gigi Dolan, Shotzi, and Tatum Paxley.
Bro, I want to roast that train wreck so bad.
Okay, yeah, go ahead, because his match was a little bit it seemed to me as though everybody in this match was not who we thought they were a few years ago. Is that accurate?
Yes.
To say? Because we got these 6 women here who were all a big deal at one point a couple of years ago.
One of them was on the main roster.
That's true. Shotzi not looking as frail, but still not looking. She looks sick. Is she sick? Was she sick?
So I don't know. I think she was hurt. And I mean, I feel like every time she's in a prominent role, we have this conversation about her frailty.
Yeah. Well, she didn't always look this way, though.
I don't know what it is. I didn't, you know.
Like, they took her tank away and she lost 40 pounds of like meat and muscle. And she didn't have 40 pounds to lose. She's like a skeleton with green hair now.
Well, maybe that's the vibe she's going for, pal. But
maybe.
All I know is this was goth toxic attraction versus not B movie sequel toxic attraction.
Yeah, pretty much. B horror movie sequel.
Yeah,
C horror movie sequel.
And like, it's not good. And like JC Jane and Gigi Dolan, when they were with Mandy Rose, toxic attraction, and then even after Mandy Rose got fired, like, we were so high on Gigi Dolan and JC Jane, and now it's just like, man, that's like been 4 years ago now, and
yeah,
you guys are still doing the same fucking thing.
Well, Gigi's been hurt for 2 of those 4 years.
But she's still doing the same fucking thing.
Yeah. It's just not. Man, you're right, because it's so disappointing because we thought it was like they're the next big thing, and now it's like, wow, they couldn't string together a few arm bars to save their goddamn lives.
Like, they were in a position that they could have went to the main roster as a tag team after Mandy Rose got fired and been the women's tag team champions, and the world would have been okay with that.
Not only would the world have been okay with that, the world would have been like, oh, good, the women's tag team championships mean something.
Yeah, because
And
they were a big deal.
yeah. And now they're like, they come on in a match and we go, ooh, that wasn't good. Ooh,
Most of the time I see them come on in a match, I'm like, huh, my beer's empty.
I got to pee. Maybe I'll poop while I'm up there.
You know what I mean? And that's disappointing because they had all the potential in the world. I don't know where they got fumbled, but like that was the prevailing thought as I was watching this match, and it's just, man, what a waste.
It's like, here are 6 women who are being fumbled. Actually, I don't know enough about Jasmine Nix, really. I guess I've not seen enough of her to say she's too new to me to be like, oh, well, but like the other 5 are like seemingly, in my opinion, probably almost on their way out. I would not be shocked if at least 4 out of 5 were gone at post WrestleMania, whenever their contracts are up.
I don't know, but it wasn't great. I wasn't here for it. And like I said, the only thing I could keep thinking of is, man, I just, where did we go wrong with a couple of these women?
I don't know.
We
thought we were like, oh my God, we got some rising stars coming. And then like maybe they thought that too and just fell out of practice. I don't know.
It was something, because that was something. You know what I'm saying? So
I mean,
moving on, we had Lexis King versus Charlie Dempsey for the NXT Heritage Cup. What a fun little match.
I'm very happy that Lexis King won this. He's somebody I don't feel like AEW fumbled him so much as he needed more creative than AEW had to offer.
I agree with that piece.
But I'm glad I'm enjoying his, we'll call it a rehabilitation stint in NXT. And I'm excited to see where he goes because like his work has been great. His in-ring work he's really taken to like his in-ring work it's like he was somewhere when he got there and now he's so much further than he was.
Commentary did a great job telling his story, and why he was in that Heritage Cup match, and because it's all strictly by the rules. There's no cheating. He's trying to learn how to do things the right way by wrestling the right way, and that's why he was hanging out with those guys and blah blah blah. Commentary did a great job telling that story for the end of that match to end the way that it did, where it's just like, oh, you think he just didn't get out of the way?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Good stuff.
I enjoyed that a lot.
Like I said earlier, I don't think that AEW had the creative that he needed, and I feel like now that he does, every time you've seen him, it gets better and better and better, and the matches get better, and they make more sense, and they tell a better story, and he's really becoming somebody who can be a superstar for a long time.
Yeah,
which is
absolutely.
Great because of who his father is and his pedigree and his all of that is just so
good for him. I'm happy for him. I think that he is doing the damn thing right.
He's on an upswing, and I hope it just continues indefinitely for him.
You know what though? I do want to comment that it's funny because I was sitting here and I was watching it and I was like, man, he got a little bit of a gut going on here a little bit. And I'm not one, that's not like my thing. But immediately after that thought popped in my head, I was like, kind of looking a little bit like in shape Joey Janela, and then no sooner did I think that, commentary goes, well, he's really been lifting and working out and he looks great. And they're putting over how hard he's been working at like this whole traditional wrestling thing. And I was like, oh, that's hilarious. It's hilarious.
It's
but this match,
bring up Joey Janela, because I might bring him up again later. But
yeah. this match and the next match had something in common. And the next match was the NXT Men's Championship match. Trick Williams defending against Eddie Thorpe and the Ruler Obafemi. Obviously some backstage shenanigans before that match, and it played out the way that it should. But what took Eddie Thorpe so long to get to the ring? Anywho, I don't want to lose my train of thought. They were trying so hard to make time for The Rock at the end of this show that in the NXT Heritage Cup match and the NXT Championship match, they did picture-in-picture on entrances. And like I can just picture I pictured the conversation. It's like, Brian, oh, what's up, Sean? You know, he's like, we got the Rock back here and try to make some time for him. So like, might have fucked up a little bit here. So I'm gonna send you out. All right, your entrance is gonna be on TV, but it's gonna be in picture-in-picture. But we'll do right by you. We'll give you the big in-ring announcement for the championship style announcement for the Heritage Cup thing, so you can get your big moment down there. And then same thing with fucking Obafemi. You know what I mean? He's like, hey man, got the boss here, and need to make some time because he's gonna go out there and wow our fans with a very riveting speech. And I need to get him at least, 10, 11 minutes at the end of the show. Your entrances are going to happen in picture-in-picture.
So I feel like for Oba, it wasn't as big of a deal because like he just kind of dances in the ring anyway, and it's like picture-in-picture or just like in like it's cool regardless because he just looks cool while he's doing it. But I just. It's one of those things where it's just like you could definitely tell because it's like nobody ever does entrances in picture-in-picture, but now it's like, but The Rock is here, so let's go. And it's like, oh, okay, I get it. You want Dwayne to have a remote, and I feel like that's gonna catch up to him if we keep that shit up, and I feel like we're gonna keep that shit up, so. That's going to catch him. And it's probably going to catch him at the least opportune time. Like he's going to get booed at WrestleMania or something when he's not supposed to get booed. And that's going to be one of those things.
Yeah. But overall, I'm sure you're happy Obafemi wins the
Love Oba
World Championship. Frees Trick William up to possibly come to the main.
Yeah. I think that makes a ton of sense. I fully expected Trick Williams to be in the main roster. I fully expect him to possibly rekindle his little feud with oh god, what's his name?
Carmelo Hayes.
Carmelo Hayes. Fully expect him to rekindle his feud with Carmelo Hayes. Maybe get some other odds and ends in there in that mid card.
Whoop that trick. Whoop that trick.
And I think that
trick. Hey, pop quiz. Do you know what movie that comes from?
Fuck, I do, but not
Hustle and Flow.
Yes, Hustle and
Terrence
Flow.
Howard.
Absolutely, Hustle
Great
and
movie.
Flow.
Great movie.
It's hard out there for a pimp.
Definitely hard out there. What a great movie.
What a good movie.
Oh my goodness. What a great movie. Listen, if you've not seen Hustle and Flow, like it won a couple Oscars and shit.
Yeah,
and then,
it won some awards.
The Whoop That Trick song was the first hip hop song to ever win a Grammy in a movie, in the movie category, which was dope. Like it was good stuff on that.
Tremendous movie.
Go check it out.
I've seen that was like in that weird that string of movies of like the mid 2000s where it was like almost 2010 but not quite. It was like 2005, 6, 7, something like that. That was like these movies are just like what's this movie going to be about? I don't know. It's going to be about a pimp and his hose, and he's also a rapper. And you hear that and you go, is this a pro wrestling gimmick? Because I feel like this is a pro wrestling gimmick. And then you watch the movie and you're like, how is this one of the best movies I've ever seen in my life?
It was awesome. Very well, very, very, very well done. Yeah, man. So overall, I'd say NXT New Year's Evil was great. I mean, we got 2 new champions, and then they got their I don't know, 6 minutes that felt really awkward and forced that they got to stand at the top of the ramp, but almost like that should have been the end of the show, like it usually is.
Yeah.
And but then we got
If you smell,
a 4-minute entrance and then 8 minutes of
just shooting off the cuff. It was a lot of shooting off the cuff.
No, and I'm okay with that. But then he started, he's trying to babyface it, and he's never been in an NXT arena, and they're here for it. The fucking Rocks at NXT, they're here for it.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that was dope for him. I mean, you could see he was a little goosebumpy, maybe not WrestleMania goosebumpy, but I don't know, man. It fell real flat.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just not a great way to end a
productive
2 days. They should have just done the backstage segment with him and Ethan Page and Ava, and that should have been it.
They could have pre-filmed. Honestly, they could have pre-recorded that and just let that happen, and it would have been better than what happened.
Yeah.
Hindsight, though, we get the benefit of hindsight.
Absolutely.
And they did not. So.
That was not it. I don't know.
Next time,
it was a little bit of a buzzkill coming out of a great 5 matches.
It really was. Well, 4 great matches.
Yeah. Okay. 4 great matches.
4 great matches and a poop break.
Ooh, buddy. So let's go ahead. Let's get into Monday Night Raw, the debut on Netflix.
Well, you know who we got to talk about first?
Who's that?
Well, since we're talking about Raw, we got to talk about.
Oh yeah, well, I'll get you there.
All right, let's go.
I'll get you.
All
right. It felt real big, didn't it?
Sure did, especially with the promo package in the beginning. Holy shit!
Yeah. And
then
before the show, I don't know how active you were on the old IWC before the show, but it was all over the place, right? Oh, there's curtains around the ring. What are they hiding? Oh, what's this? Yeah. So it had the internet buzzing, right? Which I think made it feel bigger. And I just really hope that the IWC wasn't let down, that it was just Triple H and some pyro.
I actually thought that was great when it popped down and it was Triple H. I was like, "Oh shit, great, awesome!"
Yeah, I enjoyed it a lot.
That was all I needed was for it to be Triple H. I was interested in what was going to be on the ring, on the who what were the advertisements were. I like that Fortnite was right in the middle. I'm like, damn, Fortnite paid a lot of money for that. That's
guaranteed.
Crazy.
So I'm glad you brought that up. Let's talk about the new set, right? 360-degree seating in the arena. That's going to be the standard for Monday Night Raw moving forward. I'm assuming that that's going to create some new cameras, some new camera angles, some things like that, a better viewing experience for the fan. Now, we've seen that 360 for the most part in the larger stadiums for PLEs. But, with they've got the low LED board. That's it. Just the tunnel. And then the seating above that.
That to me is very reminiscent of the early 90s stuff, because before the pre-Titantron era, where it was just they would come out and there were people above them, right?
Yep.
You had the entrance ramp and there were people above them. And now it's just that little LED board where they come out and there's the LED board sort of behind them, but there's still people above them. So that it very much feels, in my mind, when when I saw The Rock walk out, my first thought in my mind was this is kind of the same camera angle as The Undertaker's debut.
Yeah,
in that Survivor Series pre-Titantron kind of thing where it's oh. And it's it tickled that little bit of nostalgia for me, where I'm oh, this is cool. Because and I'm sure that this was done on purpose. No, this wasn't just an accident. But
no, there's no way that any of this, because you think about it, a lot of what Triple H has done feels like that.
Yeah. Like it's like you could tell it's like that 1990, 89, 90, 91 is very much where he's just like, all right, there was a lot of awesome things happening that can be expanded upon that were thrown away. And I'm gonna
With 2025 technology.
right. And I'm gonna dig that. So I'm gonna dig into that, but I'm also gonna make it my own and new.
I do miss the PLE sets though.
Yeah. And big. And they did away with the big the like CGI like shit, like where you had big time Becks or you had
yeah,
Roman
but thank
blood.
God.
Yeah,
Thank
those
God,
were terrible.
because Roman looked like Triple H whenever, spit in the water. Because
those were terrible, but like they've
they
done
were
away
fun.
with
Some
that,
of them
which
were
is good.
fun. Some of them were fun, but
Big
I
time
did
Bex
notice.
was not, neither was Roman, and those were the ones that seemed to get it the most. Although, watch when Becky returns, we're gonna get the big time Bex thing.
Whoa! So things we didn't get on Monday Night Raw, returns and or surprises. Thoughts, comments, crises, concerns.
So I kind of was hoping for at least one. Like there were probably 6 or 7 like potential. And
I'd have liked to have seen a debut and a return.
So I was a little let down actually by that. I would have loved to see Charlotte, Becky, maybe that would have been great. I don't know that we were going to get a debut. But Charlotte or Becky.
Well, word on the street is, if you were to believe the dirt sheets and or the IWC, which we don't, but we enjoy the chatter. Rey Mysterio was supposed to have a tag team match against the New Day, with a mystery opponent or a mystery partner, and that mystery partner was supposed to be Pentagon.
Right.
But the match was scrapped because of time.
And that makes sense because The Rock decided that he needed to ramble for 15 minutes. And so, we'll just push the debut to next week.
I mean, I think Cena had a lot to do with the time cut as well.
I mean, probably.
Let's not let The Rock shoulder all this blame. Okay? But if we were going to cut anything,
Cena deserved the time because I loved John Cena's promo. To me, was peak John Cena.
Oh, it was awesome. I loved every second of it. But I'm just saying.
It was exactly what it needed to be. He came out and was all humble. Guys, I don't know that I'm going to get a record-breaking title run or anything. I'd have to win the Royal Rumble or win the Elimination Chamber or win the Money in the Bank or win the Royal Rumble. I'm going to win the Royal Rumble. I'm going to enter the Royal Rumble. Like that was like
hit you in all the feels.
God, he made me feel all the good feelings. Like
I got a text. I got a text message from an avid listener that's in my circle, right? And he's like, "Can I be a mark for a second?" And I said, "Sure thing, pal." He goes, "I really hope John Cena gets a title reign."
I texted you that while he was doing that, and I go, John Cena's making me feel things, right? John Cena's giving me feelings. That's what I said to you.
Yeah.
John Cena's giving me feelings. And you're like, that's what he's supposed to do. And I'm like,
yep.
But John Cena's giving me feelings. Anyway, it was great. I loved it. So I hope it happens. Honestly, now I'm here for it.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
I'm here for John Cena to win the Royal Rumble and then beat Cody Rhodes at WrestleMania. I would hate that if it was like anybody else.
You don't think it's Gunther
to beat Cody? No, Gunther's the other. He's the champion already. Well, I would. Oh, I don't know that I'd like that as much.
I don't necessarily know that I like that as much either, but think about your first WrestleMania main event with the greatest of all time, and you just don't quite measure up. But then you've got all this experience and you grow because of it. And Gunther becomes bigger and meaner, but somehow more humble and just fucking wrecks house and then beats John Cena at SummerSlam or some shit and then just goes on a run. What's to say something like that doesn't happen?
I mean, if it's just a short, I mean, it would have to be. All right.
I mean, he said he's gonna work the entirety of 2025. I think we talked about this last week. He had 36 dates on the books, which is almost every other week.
Yeah. It's more than every other week.
I thought we agreed that it was like every 2 weeks.
26 would be every 2 weeks. But then again, I guess if it's 36 dates and we're including pay-per-views. Yeah, okay. You're right.
So I mean,
some of those weeks he's going to double up.
That's a pretty full schedule.
Some of those weeks he's going to double up because there's going to be a pay-per-view. Yes. Okay.
That's a pretty full schedule. So I'm really interested to see what the John Cena run does. And I did enjoy the promo. However, I think that we can't lend all of that, the responsibility of the cut time being on Dwayne.
No, but there's another guy who should have been cut. Maybe
and you know what?
Physically.
You're absolutely right. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to let you have it. But I've got rationale behind why this wasn't cut. So, the segment that
I know why it wasn't cut.
Oh, do you know?
Yeah, I know why it wasn't cut. It was on. It was painted on the ring apron.
Dun 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 dun. When you come crashing down, it hurts inside.
I'll tell you what, it definitely hurt inside.
Jimmy Hart looked fucking better than Hogan did, bro.
Okay, first let me put Jimmy Hart over for starters. Number one, Jimmy Hart has been 53 years old for 65 years. I don't understand how that's fucking possible. Jimmy Hart has not aged a day.
Surgery.
The man has been 53 years old since he was 29 years old and has not aged a day in the last 65 years. Jimmy Hart is 112 years old, and we don't know. Jimmy Hart may not even be a real person. Jimmy Hart may be Joey Janela in a Jimmy Hart mask. We don't know. See, I told you I was going to come back to Joey Janela. They got Joey Janela has the same body shape as Jimmy Hart. Maybe that's where Joey Janela went. He is just the Jimmy Hart impersonator right now. So anyway, Jimmy Hart looks amazing. For 112 years old, guy didn't look a day over 53.
Yeah, baby. Woo.
Guy hasn't looked a day over 53.
We got to get in there, baby. Come on now, baby. I got to get in there, baby. Let's go, baby.
Guy hasn't looked a day over 53 for the last 65 years. And
yeah, there's a terminology for that. And that terminology is called elective surgeries.
I mean, whatever surgeon he goes to just can do one thing and can make Jimmy Hart look like that.
You know what? Maybe Jimmy Hart, this reemergence of Jimmy Hart on WWE television has something to do with the drones.
Maybe. But I'll tell you who didn't. Jimmy Hart did not deserve. Jimmy Hart didn't do shit. Okay, he did not deserve to be booed like that.
Well, he was booed by proxy.
He was booed by proxy, but Jimmy Hart didn't deserve that.
Guilty by association.
And I hope the next time I see Jimmy Hart, he gets a cheer because
asleep at the wheel.
Because Jimmy Hart does not deserve to be booed. Okay, now on to the man who does deserve every boo that he got.
Oh my God.
People asked on the internet that day, they were like, why are people booing Hulk Hogan? And the internet answered with, well, I mean, you could pick, but there's a fucking list. Okay. So, and they went down. Number one, the man is an admitted racist and everybody knows it. Number two, the man was a snitch. So racist snitch, snitched out, Jesse the Body when Jesse the Body was trying to unionize. Big time snitch. Confirmed fact. That's
not going to work for me, brother.
Number three, the Macho Man hated him. Were you a Macho Man guy? Because I was a Macho Man guy. Macho Man hated this motherfucker. Oh yeah. And if Macho Man hates you, I immediately don't like you. Number four, the dude's backstage politicking over the years, all of the stories that have come out for the last 40 years, Guy's a piece of shit. Guy's been a piece of shit his whole life. He has been working on these boos his
Well, that's not
entire
fair.
fucking life. He has been working on them. And you know what? There a lot of people online will say, "Oh, well, the wrestling industry wouldn't be where it is right now without Hulk Hogan." You're right, it wouldn't be, because it would be 20 years further in advancement than it would be. The wrestling industry, I'm going to go on record. I'm going to say this right now. The wrestling industry would be 100% better right now if it weren't for Hulk Hogan. Hulk Hogan has kept this sort of as a nerd cliche. It would be even bigger than anything if it weren't for Hulk
No,
Hogan.
no, 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 no. I'm not gonna allow you to climb on that soapbox.
Doom,
I am. That's just not gonna be a thing. No, sir.
All
No,
right,
sir.
he's finger poking Doom.
Vince McMahon has got to shoulder some of that blame.
All right,
to
sure.
put all of that solely
Vince
on
McMahon shit on girls' heads all he wants. And just maybe he should have pooped on Hulk Hogan's head, is what he should have done.
He did.
And that would push wrestling forward.
Maybe that's where the oh yeah, brother. Maybe that's where that came from, huh? You know,
So we're saying that maybe happened.
Yeah, I mean, we're in here we're in here prophesizing made up scenarios about how the wrestling industry would be better if Hulk Hogan didn't exist. I mean, we can tell all kinds of stories.
I love that your first instinct was to go straight to Vince McMahon pooped on Hulk Hogan. I love that that's where it went. This is why we're friends. This is why I love you, because that's
just saying.
Instead of you defending what I'm going on about, you're like, what if he pooped on Hulk Hogan? And now we're
just saying, man. Crazier shit's happen, but to sit here and boldface just tell stories that the wrestling business would be better if Hulk Hogan hadn't been in it is just, that's not a fair narrative, sir. I'm sorry.
I mean,
I'm not sitting here defending the man's character. Like, I'm glad he got booed. I'm so glad he got booed. Look, everybody in that arena probably booed him for a different reason, and they were all right. It made me smile, though, you know, and then, like, afterwards, you know, he's like, oh, I expected 50-50 reaction from that Los Angeles woke crowd. I mean, it was a little 50-50. He got a good pop on his music hit, and then he came out, and then whenever he started talking is when everybody started booing him. So they enjoyed the nostalgia until he opened his suck hole.
He also came out to shill his bullshit beer, right?
I heard it's actually really good. Have you tried it?
I have not. So maybe that's something we should do live.
I'm into it.
Both of us get some Hulk Hogan's Real American beer, and we could try it live, you and I together.
Yeah,
and just see what we think about it, and like we could drink the whole thing, and just like, you know, give our thoughts, our opinions. Look, you and I are guys that have drank a lot of beer in our time.
Hey, I have a scenario where we can do that in the same room. We'll talk about that off air.
I love it. Fuck yes, yes. I love when I light a little spark and you're like, I can live on. I can.
Yeah, we can do that. We can do that in the same room on this show.
This is why we do this. Fuck
yeah. Yeah, hell yeah. We'll remind me after we
absolutely. Okay. I'm down.
But I am. Listen, I'm not surprised that
back together for this.
Yeah. I'm not surprised that the man got booed. Okay. No. And like, I know why he was there shilling his beer. He probably paid a lot of money to have it put on the thing. You know what? The WWE fans are going to react how the WWE fans react. It's a known thing. But I'm glad he got booed. It made me smile that he got booed, actually.
I loved watching all the re-clips of like people in the crowd, because like it was worse in the crowd. Like they tried to like fix it on Netflix, but like if you see the like crowd shot videos of it, it's so much worse.
Yeah,
got booed out of the arena. There was a lot of people booing. There were what, 17,000+ people there. All of them were like, "Boo! Fuck you!" It was great.
So we talk about all of these things that created some time issues. Hulk Hogan being one of them. Obviously, paid a lot of money to have his logo put on there, and that was probably part of the contract agreement. You know, was that he got to go out and promote his shtick and do his thing. And what you gonna do, brother, when Netflix and Phil runs wild on you? You know, and the whole thing. I get it. But we lost out on Pentagon, and I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm glad, because to debut him next to Rey Mysterio puts him at a deficit.
Yeah, but now it happens next week, and like we already were teased because Triple H in the post show, we haven't even talked about the show. And the post show was like, "Oh yeah, it's going to be Chad Gable versus a luchador. You guys probably already know who it is." And like, so in him saying that, like, we know it's probably Penta. Would we be disappointed if it's Rey?
Oh yeah, for sure.
I mean, at home I would be. I don't know that the arena is disappointed. Like, I mean, the arena is disappointed, but like, I don't know that you like Ray still gets a pop. You know what I mean?
Oh, for sure.
So I don't know, but I hope it's Penta.
I hope it's Penta too, because we started to kind of go back and forth on this a little bit. Derek was involved in this conversation actually. I'm really excited to see how they present him, right? Because I've always felt like he had the potential to be a big deal. He just, when he was in Lucha Underground and he was the champion there and, doing those things, he was a big deal, right? And then he went to AEW, got back into the tag team with his brother. They did their whole thing that everybody fucking got used to seeing in New Japan, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I'm excited to see him under WWE creative, right? The first still pictures that we got, he looks like $1 million. Like his ring gear looks fucking top notch. Like you can see the texture on everything. Like he looks like he's in great shape. It makes it feel like he's a big deal. And we circle back and we talk about, big acquisitions that were fumbled in AEW, right? Cody Rhodes, obviously former AEW EVP, part of the big picture. He's the world champion right now, just got endorsed by The Rock, which I thought was really cool. He's a big deal, household name, right? You get somebody like Brian Pillman Jr. that comes over that, as you said, is put into a rehabilitation program, so to speak, to kind of get this new gimmick and this new character over to separate himself a little bit from his dad. Potential to be a big acquisition.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Looks like a big deal. Is being treated like a big deal.
Ethan Page getting fucking a one-on-one segment on NXT with The Rock and then getting the endorsement from The Rock about going to the main roster is AEW epic failure. Like, could they take somebody like Pentagon that's gonna sell merchandise?
Oh yeah, gonna sell masks at least.
He's gonna sell merchandise. He's gonna get over with the WWE crowd.
Oh yeah, especially if they dial him. Well, Ray Fenix isn't there, so they're gonna have to dial him back a little bit. Like he'll get to do like the big dive before the commercial break for sure, still. But like otherwise, they'll have to make him wrestle, which he can do.
Yeah. I think he's an underrated singles competitor.
He was the Ring of Honor champion for a long time, was he not? He beat Bandito. He beat Bandito, and then Bandito beat him, and then Bandito killed himself twice.
No, bro. Whew. First match back, bro. It's kind of sad. Well, we talked about that, that's just adrenaline. Not having, but that sucks.
Motherfucker's seeing stars still.
It sucks.
It does. That really sucks.
Pentagon has the potential though to be one of those big AEW to WWE acquisitions that, like, hey, you had this guy and you didn't. You had this guy and you wouldn't. You had this guy, maybe you couldn't, but here you go. This is what you could have done. I think that he's in a good place to be put in a position to be a big fucking deal right away.
And I think especially to kind of, as long as this is what happens, they debut him against Chad. Chad Gable's never had a bad match against anybody.
No. The internet's mad that if this is Pentagon, that he's debuting against Chad Gable. The internet is mad about that. The possibility that is a thing. I have no idea why the internet is mad about that.
It doesn't make any sense.
We both agree that Chad Gable is WWE's biggest fumble to date.
Absolutely.
But
But
he's
he's
still a
also
phenomenal in-ring competitor.
and I feel like he also still gets a lot of time. To call him a fumble is weird because it's like Chad still gets like time every single not like significant time every single week. And he
So is he
has
a bobble?
he's more of a bobble, really, he's never in a major pay-per-view spot, and I think that's really the sort of fumble for him is that like he was for a hot minute when Gunther was the Intercontinental Champion, and then he's
They
just
could have
never
made him if he would have beat Gunther for that belt.
really would have. But they decided not to pull the trigger on that. But I mean, the man gets if we're
And
talking
then elevated Sami Zayn for 3 months because of it.
yeah, and that feels like a
When
fumble,
they could have
right?
made Chad Gable. Like, that's the part that I have a hard time looking at.
Yeah, because Chad Gable totally could have stepped into the role, done almost the exact same thing that Sami Zayn did for the exact same amount of time, and Chad would be so much better than where he
Yes.
is right now, and Sammy would be in the exact same spot.
Yes.
And it would make Chad Gable feel even more important when you see him for 15 minutes every week. Because he does, like in the grand scheme of things with Chad Gable gets 15 minutes on television at least every week. And he's either in a match that's really good, in a match that gets a story that has legs and stuff. And so, like, it's not that you can look back at and like we're gonna probably look back on the Chad Gable career and be like compare him and put him in the same kind of category with the Miz, where people are like fucking Chad Gable, but it's like at the same time it's like yeah, but the guy was around for like 20 years and like won some titles and had time every single week and was in charge of a bunch of factions and all. Like you're gonna be able to list accolades of Chad Gable and be like, oh yeah, the guy had a phenomenal career. Like, guy had one of the best careers in wrestling ever. But
I agree with that sentiment. I think
the big one.
I think long term he's going to be a big deal, but I think that he deserves to be a big one. I mean,
I don't think that it would be remiss to say that Chad probably should have had maybe an Intercontinental title run and a couple short U.S. title runs at this point. He should maybe be a 3-time singles champion. On and over a few times, and then I hope that we still get that Chad Gable Otis blow off that I think we all deserve.
We had that.
We didn't really though, like the big match for something, because like they still see each other and kind of mean mug each other and have a little triple threat match, and then nothing really happens, and then they mean mug each other, and it's not as it feels unsatisfying to me.
I couldn't agree more, but I don't know that either of them are really in the position that the normal fan cares about that.
But I care. Make me care about it at WrestleMania, just like when I cared that Mandy Rose kissed Otis.
Yeah.
That was the best feel-good moment of that. It was a terrible WrestleMania otherwise, but it was the best feel-good moment of another.
I mean, half capacity. What was that? It was 21, right? 2021?
Yeah.
Have you tried to watch the pandemic WrestleMania?
I have not, only because of how bad everything else was around that. I just didn't want to relive that.
I've been thinking about like maybe rewatching it here, like just because it's come up on quite a few podcasts recently that I've listened to. I'm like, man, I do remember it being really bad, but like I'm gonna go check. I think I might go watch it.
2019 was especially bad. There was a point in time, like it was pre-pandemic, it was bad. Like, the pandemic itself, things kind of started
different.
to turn around.
That was different bad though. That was not.
No, like 2019 was the lowest low.
Oh,
Remember,
yeah.
There was a point in time when Triple H, Stephanie McMahon, and Vince McMahon all stood in the ring and blamed wrestling sucking, WWE sucking, on Baron Corbin, who was standing at the top of the ramp. They just blamed Baron Corbin. And literally everybody in attendance went, "Are you fucking shitting me?" And then they went on to do the exact same thing for the next 6 months. And
I
they
hope Tom gets
gained
a. I hope
again
Tom
before
gets a chance in New Japan.
Honestly, I think that's kind of another fumble. If we're talking about
Yeah.
WWE fumbles,
Yeah.
Corbin was a solid worker, solid on the mic, literally solid in every way that you could hope a WWE wrestler would be. I just don't. Maybe he and Paul just didn't get along. He was a Vince McMahon guy. Paul Levesque doesn't like him.
Could be as simple as that.
That's probably all it is. And kudos to Tom Pescott for being the professional of just being like, instead of that, making just whiskey and like meat cooking videos on Instagram and like taekwondo. Like that's what he does. The man cooks meat,
He
drinks
does
whiskey.
jujitsu, not taekwondo.
Sorry, cooks meat, drinks whiskey, and does jujitsu.
Listen, he's a great Instagram follow. There's no doubt about it. And I've told this story before, but saw him in the Atlanta airport, treated me with respect as a fan. I treated him with respect. Quick conversation in passing. We never broke stride. It seems like he's a top-notch guy. So I safest worker that I think I've seen
Since
at
Mr.
that
Perfect.
size since Mr. Perfect. So
Yeah.
Good on him. I hope he gets his shot. But let's talk about the show now that we've talked about ups and downs and things that we
else.
There's only four matches.
Yeah.
4 matches.
4 matches.
4 matches. 4 very, very good matches, I would
Really
say.
good.
I didn't really care for Jey Uso versus Drew McIntyre.
It's the most forgettable one. And
I feel
it's also the one that didn't I feel like everything about this show sort of put a bow on everything to kind of bring everything in the new era. But that sort of didn't put a bow on it. And Drew versus Jay is still going to be a thing moving forward.
Yeah. It just, I don't know. It just felt really disconnected from the rest of the show.
Mm-hmm.
And that's probably why, right? Like it one of these things is not like the other. Now, while it was the start of this new feud and, and we got a first time ever in the history of ever to main event, and then we had Solo versus Roman to kick off the show. And you text me and you were like, I don't know that I would have started with this. And I couldn't have disagreed more. I think it made the most sense that if you're going to try to snag a casual that may know who Joe is, you open your show with The Rock. Oh, The Rock. And then my cousin Roman Reigns.
And hey, there he is.
Oh, they're cousins. I like him because I grew up watching The Rock.
Yeah,
Cool.
I know who The Rock is. So that's his younger cousin. Wow, that guy looks like $1 million. And then you watch that match and you go, that's the kind of shit I want. And then you have him win. He gets the Ulafala. They have the whole package around it to like explain why this makes sense. And they did a great job. The package made sense. And then he won. And so that seems to put a stamp on it. Really,
but
I
don't know how it doesn't. But how do you take the new bloodline seriously at this point?
I mean, maybe it implodes. Maybe you watch it kind of fall apart from the inside.
Maybe Jacob Fatu says, "Oh well, I'm the fucking tribal chief."
Maybe Jacob goes, "I don't love you anymore, Solo."
Yeah, and then he acknowledges Roman.
Exactly.
And then they go on a tear.
Where does it go? Exactly. Where does it go from here? They win the tag team titles. They win both the tag team titles. Roman wins all the titles again because he's got Jacob. Roman's an asshole again. Jacob's his asshole murderer because Roman's got all the gold. Like, well, where does it go? Possibilities are there.
It's like Dom Mysterio in the women's championship, just where does it go from here?
Yeah. But like, I would hate to see the like Solo. I feel like it hurt Solo more than anything else.
Top Dollar said on Twix that they buried Solo by making him lose to Roman.
I mean,
and he knows a thing or two about getting buried.
I mean, he sure does.
Yeah, but I mean, he brings it. He brought all that on himself, bro.
He sure did.
I mean, when LA Knight called him Uncle Phil, he lost all credibility.
Yeah, he was done.
After they got rid of Swerve, they lost all credibility.
Yeah, that's really what it was. Swerve was all his credibility and all that credibility.
I don't know.
WWE fumbled Swerve. We can say that.
Yeah,
we could that. You know what? Swerve might be WWE's biggest fumble, not Chad Gable.
Yeah. And he said as much several times to anybody that will listen.
I mean, and he's done everything in his power to prove himself right. So
kudos on him. That's a Vince McMahon thing, because I think Triple H saw everything in Swerve.
I agree, and
because Hit Row was a big deal in NXT.
And I wouldn't be shocked to see Swerve come back under a Triple H WWE regime and do well. Eventually, not 2 to 5 years from now.
Well, let's get Kevin over first. How about that? Can we do that?
Let's
get Kevin over first.
I mean, they're trying.
They're getting there.
He was there. He was there on Monday. You saw
They're getting there.
He was there on Monday.
Long-term storytelling. That's all this is.
He and Scarlett took pictures. They both looked like $1 million.
It's because they look like $1 million in real life.
Yeah, they do, right?
Like
they're beautiful people.
They are the perfect PR couple, just like
they really are.
Miz and Maurice.
Exactly. Like they're the kind of people like
you can't trot Jimmy Uso and Naomi out there, because it's like, oh, this is the poster child of private chauffeurs because your husband's got a drinking and driving problem.
Yes.
He can't even go into Canada.
We gotta write him off TV for a week or two. So when we go to Canada, Jimmy can't go to Toronto.
The Canadians get a little pissy, I don't like
you have too many points in your license there, I'm gonna have to ask you to turn back around.
We don't we don't do all that up here, huh? You know.
Yeah.
Don't you know?
If you're gonna have a few poppers, just don't get behind the wheel. Get a sober driver. There's plenty of you around, right? You got to have 6 or 7 brothers or sisters working the farm with you, yeah? Fuck, can they run? Anyway.
Oh, bro, you watch way too much Letterkenny.
I mean, I've not watched Letterkenny in a few days. Thank you.
That Canadian accent is on point there.
I am not ashamed to say that I've watched Letterkenny in its entirety 4 times.
Bro, I can't do it. You keep telling me to try. I can't.
Oh my God. And I've watched Shoresy in its entirety. Shoresy's only 2 seasons. I've watched Shoresy like 6 times. It's so good. It is. You can just leave it on.
That itch, bro.
You can just leave it on. It's so funny.
Scratch that itch.
It's so funny.
I don't know.
You just have to let it run, and
that's what you keep saying. But like, I keep trying to let it run, and it just.
All right, I'm sorry.
Just doesn't hit me. You know what I mean? That's okay. Maybe I'm too dumb for it. You know what I mean? Like that's.
No, I don't think that's it, because it's pretty dumb. It's not. That's not it. It's.
So I don't.
It might be the speed, and it's the speed in which you listen to things. I think, because they speak a lot quicker than you or I do.
That could be that too. I don't.
The speed in which you listen, because you would be like, anyway.
Well, yeah, because I like to have some tempo to a conversation, bro. Yeah. You know, like word vomit is a little much. Like, you know, I want to get to know somebody whenever I sit down and have a conversation. What makes you go, my friend? You know what I mean? Tell me how you feel. That's why I drive the boat, because I
Exactly.
can.
So I had little sisters, so I understand how the word vomit works. And that's I speak word vomit.
Ooh. I drive the bus around here. You know what I'm saying? Because I control the speed.
Because you're the head of the table.
Nah, let's not get carried away.
All right. But I was trying to roll it back in with Roman and coming back, and
It
he
was
won.
dirty.
Got the
It made
old
me feel
flower.
dirty, though. Made me feel
A
dirty.
little bit. I was really thinking that like they were gonna swerve us hard, right, with this.
I did too.
Because like they had Paul out there, and like Solo was like, "When I'm the tribal chief, you're my wise man."
Every time Roman stepped to the corner to set up for the spear and do the yell, right? I was waiting for Paul to grab his ankle. Like
It went straight, and there was like it was a clean pin, and everything was clean, and I was just like, that I did not expect it to go that way at all.
No.
And I think they didn't expect us. I think they expected us not to expect that, and that was the swerve. Like they inceptioned us. They bloodline inceptioned us is what they did.
I'll be interested to see what happens on Monday because I feel like the bloodline is coming to Netflix. There's no other explanation. The bloodline is coming to Netflix, right? Like that has to be a thing at this point.
So maybe they leave Roman on Fridays.
No,
everybody can't be on Netflix.
They're bringing they're bringing the whole bloodline story to Netflix. There's no fucking way.
Okay, I mean I get it. Okay, but like,
there's no fucking way that Netflix is gonna let this. No, there's no way. Sorry, USA. You're gonna get fucking Carmelo Hayes versus Andrade version 7, 8, 12, 34
every week. There's gonna be like, we're gonna do a best of 7 on Fridays. Every Friday.
And it'll be and it'll still be a great
weeks.
show.
Yeah,
it'll still be a great show. Like I'm not, but I don't feel like you drive us down a fork in the road in this bloodline story on Netflix for the first time to start the show for it to not live there.
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
Moving on. We had oh my god. Oh, we had the women's championship match.
Which again,
Rhea Ripley versus Liv Morgan.
Very clean. Dom jumped in after the fact, like, "Mommy, I'm sorry." Tried to give her a hug, got kicked in the balls and a riptide for it. And then the Undertaker showed up. Great match, by the way, too.
I thought that was really cool, though. It was a fantastic match. And I'm not surprised that Rhea won, not by a long shot. I think
I'm actually really, really glad before we get this needed to be over, and I'm glad it's over.
Yeah, because now we're going to focus heavily on the destruction of the Judgment Day so that Finn Balor can start getting some momentum going so that he can be the world champion in the next year so that I can go, hey, Tom, you owe Finn Balor an apology. I hope
Great. I would love to apologize to Finn Balor. I don't think I'm going to have to, but I would love to apologize to Finn Balor.
Well, I mean, I'm ready to die on the Finn Balor hill, okay? So don't worry, I won't let you forget about it, I promise.
That's fine. Please don't let me forget, but also I don't think that I think the ship has sailed. But that being said, I'm glad that this ship has come into port and everybody has gotten off of the boat, so to speak, as far as Rhea versus Liv, because I don't want to see this any fucking more. You remember a few years ago when I was like, hey, you know, Charlotte and Becky, they shouldn't be on the same show anymore. This is how I feel about Liv and Rhea. They shouldn't be on the same show anymore.
No.
And I don't want to see it. I don't want to see it anymore. And if it happens again, I'm going to be fucking mad about it. And I'm going to bitch about it. Like,
I feel like she could go to SmackDown and her and Tiffy Time could have a fucking fantastic feud.
Liv, you mean?
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. Great. Yeah. Please. Liv, go to SmackDown. Go play over there. Now the champion, and you live on Raw now. So have fun and play there. And let's ships have passed in the night, and never the two shall meet for a little while at least. Give me a few years for fuck's sake.
Maybe it'll come out that they started talking shit about each other backstage, and that their animosity was so real that once they got into the ring with one another, they could no longer speak, so they just beat the fuck out of one another, and then we got 65 fucking pay-per-view matches out of it, and then then all of a sudden there's a bunch of professional courtesy between the two of them and professional respect, and they become friends again, and then they tag at a major fucking PLE, and it makes no fucking sense.
Yep.
I'm sorry, I was talking about Becky and Charlotte, not
Yeah,
Liv and Rhea.
that. I don't want that to happen.
Sorry.
That was Vince. That Vince McMahon was booking that while he was pooping on a girl.
Oof. Friend of the show, Pat Martin says, "Is Finn Balor your new Edge, Walt?" No. I mean,
the opposite.
Tom is the uber Finn Balor fan. I like Finn, like his work, I like his character, the things he does with his character. I have a lot of fun and I enjoy watching him. Tom's the uber Finn fan, and Tom does this thing that whenever somebody he likes isn't winning, he abandons all hope.
Yes.
Like it's the worst thing that has ever happened to Tom's wrestling fandom ever. Whenever somebody that he genuinely enjoys can't seem to get it together, even though there's a bigger
win
picture.
A match.
Okay,
when a guy who I genuinely enjoy can't fucking win a match.
We're talking about a guy that has a 1 out of 10 gold titanium platinum cast. Okay. Finn Balor demon action figure.
It's not even that big of a deal. It is literally just I got lucky and pulled up the shelf at Walmart.
Okay.
And
there's only 10. Don't let him downplay this treasure of Finn Balor that he has. Okay, the thing is,
the fact that it's like within reach is probably more than it should be. For Walt, because like I didn't leave the frame, and I've got it, and here it is. Like it's always right there. I didn't put it there, by the way. It's got dust on it. You can't see it, but it's got dust on it because it's been right there.
It hasn't moved.
It has not moved.
It's not moved. I know it's not moved.
No, it's right there.
But I've been on this thing. We're well into 2 months. You've let me go on about this thing.
Well, I mean, you're right. It's worth more money than I paid for it. That's for sure. Hold on, because there's one more. Hold on. I have this one.
Yeah. So no, Pat. You see, that's like I have the Edge belt, and like I've got his poster hanging over here somewhere. Like Tom is the Finn Balor is that for Tom, right?
Yeah. I got the Finn shit,
but he just abandons all hope.
All hope.
And it's the worst
all
thing that will ever happen. And then Finn will win the world championship, and he'll be like, "Yeah, whatever. He's a fucking chooch." And that is how we will play this for the remainder of Finn Balor's career in Tom's fandom.
While I will say Finn Balor's a chooch whilst sitting next to his action figures. In fact, he'll win the title, and there'll be an action figure with the title, and I will have it displayed with him holding it up in however way that he holds it up, and it'll be like I'll be like, yeah, he's a chooch, but like the action figure with him with the title that he wins will be right there.
So
I might be staring. It might be right here.
So that's where that comes from, Pat. And I don't know, but Tom's very much in his grieving process right now, and he's approaching anger. He's not quite there yet, but he's approaching anger, and so we're working through some things, but it'll be okay. Tom will be okay, and then once he goes through his grieving process, he's gonna owe me an apology right at the end of it.
I told him that this would happen.
Yeah, that's what I meant, Finn Balor, but.
You're Finn Balor in this scenario, then? No?
Yeah, no. I mean, I may have misspoke here. Yes, okay. You got me. All right, but I'm going to keep fighting the good fight, just to keep you positive, Tom. Keep you positive about your Super Uno Deluxe gold platinum bar Finn Balor demon thing. That wasn't the real one. That's fake. That was made out of paper mache. Tom's girlfriend did that for him for his birthday. The real one's in the safe.
I love how the plot continues to thicken on this. I'm going to lean into it.
It's in the safe.
I'm not saying anything about it. What safe?
Oh, shit.
That's a secret.
That fucking action figure. Anywho, then we get Jey Uso. We get Jey Uso versus Drew McIntyre. We kind of already touched on it, man. It just was didn't feel as big as it should have.
Because it was like one of those things where like everybody else was like wrapping up shit, and this was like just kind of like part 1.5 of it.
Yeah.
Like it kind of kicked off a week ago ish, and then like we're like at part 1.5, and it's like, but there's all this history, and it's like, right, so now this is the story, and like this was the first match in said story of like, fuck you Jey Uso, but also like Jay's just the biggest member of like this Drew McIntyre revenge tour, where he's about to just fucking annihilate everybody who wronged him and be a fucking dickhead.
I think the fact that he went onto, and I don't remember what podcast it was. He said it's not about championships right now. I love Drew McIntyre on podcasts because he plays Mr. Kayfabe blur the lines all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And I love it. And he's like, it's not even about championships. I don't even care. I'm just gonna fuck everybody up.
I'm gonna hurt everybody that wronged me. Is like, and I feel like that's the tour he's been on. I'm gonna hurt everybody that ruined my title runs. I'm gonna hurt them so much, and I'm gonna make their children cry. And it's like, I'm here for it. And like, I feel like everybody else is too. Which this is what's gonna be hard for this, is that people are cheering the shit out of Drew because he is their fucking savior right now, and like he is killing their heroes at the same time, which is like wild. This shit is wild. This is unheard of in wrestling. I'm getting goosebumps just talking about it. Like this shit is unheard of in wrestling because like Drew is playing like a massive heel, and like Michael Cole is putting it over as though he's a massive heel, but like in the eyes of everybody watching, Drew is like their savior. Like he is like, yeah, I that's it. Like he's the man. Like he's sticking it to the man.
Yeah, it's like got that Stone Cold feeling, like when Stone Cold was feuding with McMahon. That's kind of I'm picking up what you're putting down.
Yes, but like instead of like feuding with a guy that everybody like actually dislikes, it's like fuck my boss, right? Like I want to give my boss a Stone Cold Stunner,
right?
Like instead of that, it's like he's going after people that like everybody likes. Everybody loves Jay. Like everybody loves Jay, and like, but Drew is like, I'm gonna kick your head into the third row, and like everybody's like, yeah, and it's like, I don't know.
Everybody's like, yeah, and then they're like, oh wait, I forgot we're supposed to boo, boo, you're bad guy, boo,
boo. But then when he gets kicked, we go, yeah, oh fuck. That's actually what you hear. Like when Drew hits a claymore on somebody like Jay, you hear, yeah, oh fuck,
yeah, and he still does the 3-2-1. The crowd's into it. He's doing the best work of his fucking WWE career right now.
He's doing the best work of maybe anybody's WWE career right now. He's some kind of tweener that's like just some sort of angel of death at this point. And it's like, it doesn't even matter. It's like wrestling is here to like, you got sins to pay for, motherfucker, and I'm here to collect. And I'm just like, oh, this is so good.
I was watching the last couple of weeks, and we've not been put in a situation where I could tell you this, but I've been watching Drew pretty close these last few weeks, and like oh, man, Tom's right. Man, look, oh, dude, he's fucking killing it. What?
It's so good.
What? Hey, he's killing it, bro. He's killing it.
He might be he's on the run of a lifetime, I think. And what's more special about it is the fact that there isn't a title involved makes it better.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
he's like eclipsing that. You know what I mean? It's like, yeah, sure, Cody's the champ and whatever, but like,
I'm
what's
glad you
Drew
said that.
doing this week?
I'm glad you said that because I was just getting ready to ask you, what's it like being Cody Rhodes right now when you're the fourth option?
I mean, Cody probably likes it and is probably like, this is fucking cool. I like this because he seems to be the guy that's like a fan of it. And like, he's obviously at the top of the, like, look, he's the front of all the buses. He's the guy they put on the front of the card, holding the title and all that shit. And that's
He's
cool.
the face that runs the place.
He's the face that runs the place, but at the same time, it's like there's.
But
all
he's
this
not
other,
the champ that runs the camp. That's
no,
Roman
no,
Reigns.
that yes, and he's not. He's not even the champ that like people tune in for. Like I'm sure people tune in for Cody.
Everybody wants to do the whoa.
Yeah, for sure. And it's a great crowd pop. He puts on a great match every time he's out there. The guy's phenomenal. The guy is modern day John
Superstar.
He's modern day John Cena.
Nice Stardust.
Honestly, I want him to see. I want to see him come out as Stardust.
I'd pop
a little, like just like a 2-week run, and then just have him be like, "What the fuck are you talking about?"
And
like,
maybe after he loses the title, right? And like he goes for his heel turn, he has like a Stardust transitional period, and then he kills Stardust like Bailey killed the inflatable wacky arm things,
but
right?
better because that was bad. But yeah,
and then we get like a version of Dashing Cody Rhodes, but like he's just a big cocksucker.
Honestly, what I would prefer is like what if Cody like just came out as Stardust for like a few weeks and just fully embodied the character, and then it was like all of a sudden like the re-debut of Cody Rhodes, and it was like, I'm back, guys. Hey, it's great to see you. I missed you all.
So you want him to do what Tony Storm's doing?
Exactly, but like a little bigger. Exactly, though. I love what Tony's doing right now. Also, I didn't know that I could love something Tony Storm would do more than Timeless Tony Storm.
It gets better every week.
She's somebody who AEW has not fumbled. That's like
You're doing a really good job over on that side of the.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, we were talking about that the other day. It's like with some of the things that we were bouncing back and forth. It might have been on Monday night it was during Netflix because Derek was involved in the conversation a little bit, and it was like I'm not even talking shit about the things that AEW is doing. Like it's just, this is just better. And
but AEW is good now. It's good.
We get talking about AEW a little bit, and they're moving in the right direction over there.
Wrestling is good every time it's on. I have nothing to complain about.
No. Have you fit that Thursday night into your schedule yet, bud? On the old Fire Stick?
Yes, actually, last week I did. But I fitted it in on Friday at like 6 p.m. Friday at 6 p.m. I found it. It was the replay.
Yeah.
And I did.
You're welcome.
We're watching the sort of end of Jordan Grace before she moves on, and the re-debut of her. Anyway.
You're welcome.
Thank you. It's not bad. It's not a bad show. It's not like a good show, but it's not a bad show. It's like very 6.5.
I mean, Tommy Dreamer's head of creative.
It's fine. It's perfect. There is nothing egregiously bad about it. It's either
I think he writes. I think he writes a solid show.
Yeah, it's either good or fine. It's in nothing. I watched. Oh, that sucked. It was like nothing sucked. It was fine.
Do you feel less like you had to go out of your way to find it this week?
I had no trouble finding it. No trouble.
You're welcome.
In fact, I actually watch it on my Roku because it's on. There's a Roku channel. Boop 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 boop.
Glad I put that in the forefront of your cerebral cortex.
And
there,
it
my
was in
friend.
4K. For fuck's sake. Like most of it, I don't know. Like it wasn't. I don't know.
Can't go wrong.
Yeah, it was fine.
Okay, they did good. They did good. Overall, Raw debut on Netflix felt big, right?
It did.
But nothing felt bigger than the main event.
No.
CM Punk versus Seth Rollins is such a like true to life story that has come into play right before our eyes. Two of the absolute best of their generation. This is Rock and Hogan for a lot of people. And it was available on Netflix on the debut, and this is the first time ever. These two guys really don't fucking like each other. For those of you that think that all things pro wrestling is to really, fuck with your brain and immerse you in this world. These guys really don't fucking like each other. They've said a lot of terrible things about one another over the past couple of, 10 years, Tom?
At least. But yeah, 10 years. We'll go with 10. Probably closer to 11 or 12, but yeah.
They've said some really, really terrible things about one another. And all of that shit that CM Punk talked about, how terrible WWE was, and it was the worst fucking thing, this, that, the third. Somebody like Seth Rollins, that when he tells you in an in-ring promo, hey, you tried to tear this place down while I was trying to build it up. That's real.
Yeah, it's absolutely true because the timing matches up. CM Punk was talking the most shit while Seth Rollins was literally at the top, like 2016 through 18-ish, when Rollins was like the guy. Because Roman was hurt and back and forth, and it wasn't.
Yeah, it was right out. No, it was right after the Shield. The whole thing
Yeah.
with the Shield. It was right after that.
Yeah, so it's like 16 to 18.
That timeline doesn't jive.
Nah, maybe you're right. Okay, so like 14.
It's like
on.
13, 12 to 14 is
Okay.
probably. But that was the architect Seth Rollins, like the first iteration of Seth Rollins, and he was a world champion. And Punk had just made a controversial exit. Things had happened with Colt Cabana and then all of the mudslinging. These guys don't like each other. So when they go out, they're just giving live mics, and I'm assuming Triple H is like, hey, go out there and make some money, but let's not forget we're a television show here. Okay. We're professionals, and I expect you guys to keep it professional. And then you go out there and fucking some of the things that these guys say to one another. Their level of professionalism throughout this entire build to this was top notch.
Absolutely.
And all of that showed in the body of work in the match that we saw.
And they laid it in hard.
They beat the fuck out of each other.
If you saw today, so I saw Seth Rollins posted a picture today. He's got a black eye. Like it, and it's down here. So it's like he took
they beat the fuck out of each other. Like when Rollins was stomping CM Punk in the corner, right? Like the Stone Cold stomps in the corner. Bro, he is following through on every single one of them bitches.
He was missing clavicles, so he didn't snap them, but he felt every bit of those in his pectorals.
Hey, I mean,
Punk woke up purple here.
They beat the fuck out of each other, bro.
Sure did.
They gave each other a lot of one another.
Keep talking about this because I'm gonna pee.
Okay. The way that they took care of one another, There was a couple scary spots when Rollins first came, did the suicide dive on the short side of the ring, and Punk fell into into the barricade. I was a little concerned there. It looked a little wonky. But man, they took some big bumps for one another. They laid their shots in. They gave each other a lot of opportunity to look great. And they made it work in the most just perfect way. I made a comment in the group message that this is for me, like looking at it from a professional standpoint. If I'm somebody like, I don't know, the Young Bucks or Jack Perry, I look at this and I'm like, I mean, maybe that's what we were missing. I would hope, right? Because these guys don't like each other and they work together. They did business and they made the biggest show in WWE history, right? The debut Raw on Netflix means something so much more. And they don't like each other. There's a lot of lessons to be learned in professionalism amongst some of the wrestling folk, I think, that came out of this. Phenomenal piece of business. I really, really enjoyed the storytelling of the match. I thought commentary did a fantastic job. There's no way that this is not match of the year 2025.
Nope, sure isn't.
And Tom, I just put over the professionalism piece about how they didn't like each other, beat the fuck out of each other, gave each other a lot of things. Do you have anything that you would like to add about this match? Match of the year 2025.
It's weird to me that CM Punk won and that there was a decisive victory. But maybe that was for the best. At the time, I was confused by it. I feel like after thinking about it, they're clearly going to split these men up. One of them's going to go on Monday. One of them's going to go on Friday. And they're going to keep them away from each other. But their level of professionalism going into this and going through this was just unbelievable. And really, about as good as it could be for guys who clearly don't like each other. And not to bring it back to Hulk Hogan, but him and Macho Man didn't like each other. And, they put on some of the better feuds of the time. So
when it comes crashing down and it hurts inside.
Yeah, I'm still going to give it to Macho for making all that work because he didn't like Terry. It wasn't Randy that it was Randy that didn't like Terry. It wasn't the other way around. So,
oh yeah.
But these guys don't like each other. Period. They just don't.
I'm willing to bet they took a lot of respect for one another out of this. Right? It might be a position where they're willing to agree to disagree, maybe moving forward.
Especially because they were probably like, all right, be nice, and then you don't work together anymore. You work on Friday and you work on Monday. We'll see how that works out, but I think we're going to see Punk on Monday and we're going to see Seth on Friday. And I don't think the ship's passed in the night for a little while. So I think they were sort of given a carrot, at the end of the stick, all right, blow this off because this is money, and you both know that, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of maybe something we've understated here is that these guys both understand what's a money match, and they understand what money matches are for themselves more than anything else, and they saw this especially as a money match, so they were like, all right, debut on Netflix. We know you guys don't like each other. We've kept you away from each other this whole time.
But they're ready for it.
Now you got to punch each other in the mouth. And then we're like, all right, we get it. We'll do that. We'll set aside our differences for now because we are professionals and we're very, very good at this. And now you're not going to make us hang out again after this. I'll hang out on Fridays. He'll hang out on Monday, which is weird because it's not going to be Monday Night Rollins anymore, but it's probably time.
Yeah.
Fridays deserve some Seth.
No, I think it'd be dope.
Fridays deserve some Seth.
I mean, we got the original Visionary on Fridays.
Yeah.
Running roughshod with Buddy Matthews.
He was a revolutionary. He was the Messiah.
He was the Messiah. Because he was the Monday Night Messiah, and then they moved him to SmackDown, and he was just the Messiah.
I'm good with him going back to being the Messiah.
That was fun.
And he had the stained glass window. That was,
Yeah, it was fun.
underrated. Like, it probably rattled some religious people the wrong way.
Oh, for sure.
But like, God, was that was a cool run. Like that, all of that was cool. So I wouldn't hate to see that again. Maybe Fridays, maybe, on Friday it's a little less, it's a little more, religious people go to church on Friday nights, so we can put some
We'll see what happens.
glass windows up again.
We'll see what happens. But overall, man, I thought it was a really, really good show. We talked about this in our group message also, because we were talking about the disappointments of returns or debuts. This was after the show. And I made a comment to you, and I said, we've got to remember, this is just Monday Night Raw.
Yeah. It wasn't WrestleMania. It wasn't the Royal Rumble. It wasn't Survivor Series. It wasn't SummerSlam.
Just Monday Night Raw.
And there's another one coming up in a few days.
How large is the segment of the audience going to be disappointed next week when we get a normal Monday Night Raw?
I don't know that we're going to get a normal one yet. I think we will get a normal one here probably in a few weeks, but I think this one, I think they're probably going to, clearly they're going to save the debut of Penta, so we're going to get a debut.
What if it's Rey Mysterio?
I don't know. I feel like if we get so this one felt big, like you said. I feel like if we get the debut and the return this week, and we'll be like, oh fuck, like this will feel big, but in a different way. Or maybe we just get the debut and then we get a return next week, and then maybe we get a debut because we're adding people to the and then maybe the next debut is just Roxanne Perez or somebody from NXT, really, or Ethan Page or Trick Williams or somebody like that. But what if I think you said this is that like they did a good job not blowing their load, and they just kind of sort of closed off the last era, right? Like they just sort of put bows on a few things, minus the Drew McIntyre match with Jey Uso match. So what if we now get like, now we get a debut, then we get a return, then we get a debut, then we get a return, then we get a return.
I guess Goldberg's scheduled for the 4th Monday Night Raw.
So they were saying, how could WWE fumble the first Raw on Netflix? The number one opinion of the internet wrestling community was they could have Bill Goldberg show up.
Well,
and that didn't happen.
That.
So here's the thing about Bill Goldberg. Hulk Hogan showing back up. I know they're not going to put a title on Hulk Hogan.
When it comes crashing down and it hurts inside.
But I'm not certain that they're not going to put a title on Bill Goldberg. And that scares the shit out of me.
Yeah. Which kind of helps me segue into the thing that I wanted to talk about post all of our feel goods. There's a lot of folks that are disappointed that we didn't get Gunther or Ludwig Kaiser or somebody of that magnitude that's involved in that, maybe a Carmelo Hayes or something coming to Raw, to give a different feel. Gunther being left out is the chatter, but Cody Rhodes was there.
Mm-hmm. 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 Was good. Did they not show Gunther in the crowd? Was he not in the crowd?
I don't recall. They did a little video package for him, but I don't recall seeing him in the crowd.
I remember the video package. I don't think he was in the crowd either. Yeah, I mean, that's something I would imagine he's going to be on Monday, though. So, I mean, I don't want to call it an oversight because oversight's the wrong word for it, but like kind of one of those things where it's like, well, if he wasn't on this Monday, but he's on next Monday.
Yeah, but that's that's the champion of your show, and it's not on the debut episode of that show on the
Truthfully,
new
he probably should have opened the show, if we're being honest. Like, it should have just been like, welcome to Monday Night Raw. This is my show. It's nice to see you all. And then, had like...
That's why The Rock did it.
Yeah, exactly.
I did it for The Rock, brother.
Did it for The Rock. I did it for The Rock. Yeah. I don't know, man. I think that's a right that can still be wrong. Or that's a wrong that could still be righted this Monday, but we'll see because it might be something we complain about next week.
Noted.
Oh, there's something we forgot.
What's that?
The official announcement of where the Royal Rumble is going to be next week.
Oh, I didn't.
Or next year.
Anything.
Next year, 2026.
I misplaced that note card. I'm sorry.
You did? I didn't. How are we not more upset about this? How is the internet wrestling community not more upset about this? The Royal Rumble in Saudi Arabia? Are we fucking kidding? Are we fucking kidding? The Rumble in Saudi Arabia.
It's going to be a big deal.
Oh, I'm so glad that we can dress up all the women in sweatpants so they can go out there and push each other around and not show their ankles in fucking Saudi Arabia. Jesus Christ. Jesus hopscotching motherfucking Christ. No, they don't believe in that in Saudi Arabia.
Oh.
What am I talking about? What am I talking about? What the fuck is this bullshit? This is nonsense. This is goddamn nonsense.
It's
is what
just,
this is.
This is exactly why I didn't.
This is nonsense. This is bullshit.
I'm going to have to hear about this for a year.
Have the greatest Royal Rumble. Bring that back, that weird green belt that
WWE. Why did you do this
Let
to me?
him come back.
Why?
That title's so
I'm
fucking big.
so loyal to you, WWE. Why would you do this to me? Couldn't you have just like waited and announced it in like, I don't know, July? Huh? I could have done with 6 months. A whole calendar year.
This is bullshit.
It's gonna get worse.
Oh, it's gonna be way worse. Just wait till the leads up. Like, this is just the hey, we're gonna do this. Like, fuck you for doing it. Like, this is shit that like makes me almost want to lapse my fandom. In all honesty, like, am I gonna not watch the Royal Rumble? I don't know now, because I generally don't watch these matches. This shit. Like, I maybe put it on and like fucking vacuum and like clean the like crevices of the stove that I don't clean that often. Like,
even though you already have given them your $9.95.
Maybe I'll take it away.
Oh my god.
Maybe I'll steal it. What if I stole it?
It's so much more effort. Like, I just don't.
What if I just steal it? What if I go through all the effort? Because yes, you're right. It probably would take me a few hours to figure out how to steal it.
Oh.
And I make way more the $9.95. Even if it only took me 1 hour, I make way more than $9.95 in 1 hour. But still, it's
Listen,
the fucking principle of the thing, and it
I,
makes me so upset.
I know, Tom. You know, I know.
So upset.
I know. And, like, I get it. It sucks, but like, I just want to watch wrestling, bro. I don't want my world politics mixed with my fucking.
Great, me too. I want to watch wrestling too. But you know what? You know what tears me right the fuck out of it?
I tried.
When Bianca Belair shows up in her Hanes sweatsuit with the lips stitched on the front of it. And it's like, I'm on my own about the world in my sweatshirt with my sweatpants.
Listen,
And my
we
lips
have
on the sweatshirt.
Bub, we have a whole episode dedicated to this topic. Okay,
I
go
know.
back, scroll back a couple months. All right, it's called "Women Are Dope." Get over yourself.
Yeah.
All right,
women
Tom
are
and I
dope.
go in on this topic at length.
Look, they're fucking it up again. They're fucking it up again. And it deserves to be said every time they fuck it up. And we're fucking it up right now. We're fucking it up bigger. We fucked it up before, but we're fucking it up harder now.
What if
Bigger and harder.
WWE? What if WWE going over there becomes the voice of change? Huh? Then what?
Then I don't know.
Then this was all worth it. You know what I mean?
Sure. But until that happens,
I mean,
until they're telling me,
let's
look,
find some
this is the voice
positive
of
in a
change.
negative
This
world.
is
You know
gonna
what I'm
happen.
saying, my man?
It's
Come
gonna be
on, bro.
okay.
This is
It's not okay yet.
2025. We need to leave
Not
that
okay yet.
negativity
Buddy,
behind.
2025 is not kicked off all that great. Like, we
Okay,
should be
like,
raking
we
politicians
gotta
across the
leave
polls.
all the
It
negative
already is.
vibes in
We
the
got fresh ones
past.
in California right now because they burned down the Palisades. God fucking damn it.
You know, I'm sure you think that this strange weather belt, that straight line, anybody never seen it before in their entire lives. Weather seeding too.
I know. I've had to shovel snow a lot in January before. I'm not that.
Okay.
I'm not that torn by that.
I'm just making sure we're still here. You know what I'm saying? Chinese drones and shit. Hey, it's just that I just want to watch wrestling, bro. You know what I mean?
Before the mafia takes over Mexico.
All right.
There are not many who remember. A few of us, we still survive.
Hey, man. Overall, Netflix debut, Monday Night Raw.
It was great. I'm so happy that 3-hour Raws are back. 3.5 hour, because there was like a post show.
Yeah, I didn't watch it. I haven't watched it yet. Let me rephrase that.
It was fine.
But I enjoy watching those though. I think that there's Triple H gives us some nuggets sometimes when you watch those.
He did. He was like, well, you guys already know who it is.
Yeah, so
hopefully referring to Penta.
I always enjoy that. So I think God, can they only go up from that?
Honestly, yeah, because I think they need either a debut or a return. So, and they don't. I mean, they closed a bunch of storylines, so it's not like they can just like.
I know one thing. I'll be sitting in my chair
because now we want to see what happens, right?
Monday night.
Yeah, because now they locked us in us the fans
who they needed to,
and now I'm like, shit, what are they gonna do next week? They tied all these up in a bow. What the fuck? And now next week, my mind might be all over that back wall there.
Yeah,
like I'm Kurt Cobain or something.
Oh my god!
After next week.
Okay. All right.
I was saving that.
Oh my god, Tom! What was your match of the week?
It was Seth Rollins versus CM Punk. I'm sure it's yours too, but I'm sorry.
Yeah, I mean it is right.
Just the better. It was just the match that we all deserved. It was the match we got. it ended clean, and all of us went, "Really?"
Yeah.
And we were like, "But I'm not mad about it." Like that's the consensus, right? Is like it ended. We were all expected like fucking somebody to show up like with a sniper rifle, right? And
Yeah.
but like nothing.
Internet's divided on the winner.
And that's how it should be, though. We should
Internet's
all be
also
like, these
divided on the
guys are fucking
quality.
equal.
Internet's also divided on the quality.
Really?
Yeah,
Quality was great.
I thought so. Match of the year for sure. I would be remiss if I did not mention the NXT Women's Championship match between Julia and Roxanne Perez. The addition of Corey Graves to NXT's Vic Joseph and Booker T was a welcomed addition to that show. I'm sure he does not feel that way. I'm sure that he feels like he has been demoted. However, I feel the opposite. I feel that he added so much credibility to the show last night, in a way that only Corey Graves can add credibility to up and coming superstars.
I feel like that gets I feel like that's going to be short lived. I don't think.
I don't know. Joe Tessitore and Wade Barrett on Friday night. They've been killing it on Mondays.
Well, I'm just saying. I don't think Pat's back. Is Pat
no,
back?
Pat's back.
Oh shit. Well, okay then.
So, I don't know. I just
Pat's back before football's over. I don't know about all that.
No, he's back.
Okay, I didn't know that.
Yeah, he's back.
Well,
like
shit.
He's full time. So how he does the show, the Pat McAfee show, during college football season is he'll do a remote from the arena. From the arena that they're doing game day or whatever, he'll do a remote. It appears he's doing the same thing for his show, with WWE, unless it was just because he was in Los Angeles and there was a bunch of PR. But
yeah,
I would back.
Okay, I mean, okay then. All right, well, I mean that's only good for us, but like, shit, I didn't expect Pat to be back like full steam. Okay, all right.
And Booker T and Corey Graves together is just magic, and Vic Joseph already has a great relationship with Corey Graves, and just the three of them flowed so well, having never worked together before.
I feel like Booker needs a third. Truth be told, Booker is great at like the big oh my god moment, but like
he does a really good job telling stories too, especially when Roxanne Perez is in the ring.
Yeah, well, anybody that he's trained personally, I feel like he does a good job with. But I could see how. Yeah, you're right. The addition of Corey Graves really is fully an addition. It's not it takes away from nobody. And I think that's I think that's a big deal.
Yeah.
So now that I know that for sure, like that's the thing. I thought that was just a this week thing. I thought it was special.
Nope.
Okay. Well, shit.
Nope.
Now I'm in for a treat.
So Corey Graves makes me want to have a little bit more effort to watch NXT.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Just because as somebody, I enjoy the commentary part of it. I think that's integral to the viewing experience, and maybe that's why we don't like Excalibur. So all right, we're gonna get out of here. Extra long show today. I don't know. I enjoyed our time here, Tom.
Absolutely. I'm glad we started early.
Yeah, for sure. So
we deserved it.
Check us out over on Twitter and Instagram at @1_fall WC. That's ONE. If you're still here hanging out, hit that thumbs up. Even consider subscribing. That'd be awesome. I'd really appreciate it. I'm sure Tom would too.
Absolutely.
You guys are starting to come through for us a little bit with them subscriptions and them thumbs up. So we appreciate you for that. Check us out over on the audio side. Guys are still there. Appreciate you. Tons, man. Tons. And yeah. All that being said, thanks for hanging out. It's all love. Catch you next week on Fall WrestleCast.
Are we seriously like Graves is on
Yeah.
Tuesday